afternoon, good morning, depending on what your time zone is or where you may be. Dr. Z checking in with you. Like I said, I was going to continue to produce videos at a fairly rapid clip. So this is now, I think, number 2 for this week. There's one that I just uploaded, but I haven't published it yet, so I'll do that tonight, and then I'll get this one ready for you within the next couple of days. So that's the situation. So again, excuse me, peace, power, prosperity, most of all love to you and your families. Let's get down to business. Super supplements, let's just call it nutritional supplements, part 2. What does Dr. Z do in terms of nutritional supplementation personally? Because that may help some of you. The first thing I do is I develop a mindset of what would a gorilla do? And this is what I ask myself on a daily basis. What is happening in nature with the primates? And I'll let that be a big guiding principle, not the only guiding principle, but a big guiding principle in terms of what I would choose when I'm confronted with choices. And we're in a complicated world. We're in a world that really takes us away from simplicity. We're in a world that conditions us away from our own common sense. And so part of these videos is really about regaining your common sense, regaining your own sense of individuality and sovereignty, so you can begin to make independent decisions without all the background noise that tends to confuse us and distract us. So think like a gorilla. Why think like a gorilla? Because our genetic structure, our digestive tract, our teeth, our esophagus, our stomachs, the small intestine, large intestine, straight through the rectum and anus, are very closely related to our friends, the primates, the apes, the gorillas, the monkeys, etc. I would go so far to say that human bodies, if we look at them, we don't have a lot of hair. We have some hair. We're not hugely furry. And if we were thrown out in a cold climate, naked, just naked like an animal, would we be able to survive in a cold climate? Not long. Where would we be able to survive for long periods of time and actually thrive? We would thrive in tropical climates, warm climates that are pretty much warm year-round. Yes, our superior intellect has been able to take us out of the tropics and adapt to other temperatures. Doesn't mean that that's where we were from. The oldest human remains that I know of at this point actually come from Africa, which is a tropical climate. And so we know that first man, at least as far as we know, and again, history and what we get taught from history may be two different things. But as far as I can tell, the first remains come from Africa. As far as I know, we are essentially a tropical species. Our teeth are designed not to eat meat, not to eat heavily cellulose or hard vegetables. It's really designed to eat soft, hydrating fruits. Some soft green leafy vegetables, obviously pure water. That's really the only drink that a gorilla has is pure water. If they're lucky enough to break a coconut open, and I don't even know if gorillas eat coconuts, but coconut water, especially when you crack the coconut open yourself, is very healthy for you. But if you were out in nature without tools, you probably wouldn't be able to crack a coconut open. You probably wouldn't be able to get to too many nuts and seeds, because there would be, number one, a lot of work, and number two, most of them you wouldn't be able to crack open with your bare hands anyway, or with your teeth, and so you would tend to stay away from that as a foodstuff. You wouldn't be making oils, olive oils, hemp oils, all these flaxseed, all the oils that we consider healthy with the omega-3 fatty acid, the essential fatty acids. We wouldn't be able to get to those type of oils because nature doesn't make them naturally, and neither do the primates eat those naturally. So when we're thinking about supplementation, we got to think about first, what is a natural food diet? So the tropical food diet is one of fruits and vegetables. Some herbs, some soft, dark green leafy vegetables. If we ate vegetables, they would probably be hydrating vegetables. All the fruits would be hydrating fruits. Of course, we would have bananas in the tropics. They're not too hydrating, they're not too cleansing, but they are full of protein and amino acids, vitamins, minerals, in a very tasty package. And with that greenish yellow color to it to attract us to it. So always ask yourself, what would a gorilla do? Also ask yourself, what are gorillas saying about us? We go to Africa and see nations starving to death, and yet gorillas thriving in the wild. And one gorilla is probably saying to another, look at the freaking crazy human beings. I mean, number one, they're paying for the foods. Number two, they don't follow the laws of nature. Number three, they don't realize that Mother Nature's serving up her meals for free. You just got to know where to look. Number four, they don't even know what they should be eating. So this is a major problem with human beings, and this is when the intellect, runs amok and takes us away from simplicity. So the first thing is simplicity. So you got to understand, even though in this culture, in this area right now, I'm in Southern California, but I'm talking about the United States, we have depleted soil, we have depleted minerals, we have a lack of plants producing the essential fatty acids on a consistent basis. They're not producing all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we really need to survive. They would if we did it naturally, and organic practices were followed the way they were supposed to be, and the soil was composted and recomposted, and those natural substances were allowed to ferment or get into the soil the way they're supposed to be. But we tend to farm, we tend to overfarm, we tend to pick the fruits before they're ripe, and the dollar bill rules the day. That's fine, as long as we understand the game we're up against. You have to learn how to go to a Whole Foods grocery store or a farmer's market and know how to test for ripe fruits. I like a lot of the things that Lauren Lockman is saying. So you can go check him out. I mean, who do I have respect for out in YouTube land that I would listen to if they had something to say? I would follow. I listen to Dan McDonald. I listen to Lauren Lockman because he's really good about detoxification and water fasting, and that's something all of us need to be getting involved in, is water fasting. To really cleanse the body out. I mean, that's nothing better than if you go on I would say start on a raw food diet, increase your intake of fruits, then switch to all fruit diet, then go on a water fast, and then come back the other direction slowly. Go get some information on how to water fast properly. 7-day water fast, probably 1 or 2 day water fast is not going to do much in terms of digging into the layers of toxins that we have. So always look at what are the gorillas doing. Okay, they are breathing free air. They're outdoors a lot, so they're getting sunshine. For us, we need to get at least 20-30 minutes of direct sunshine a day. I myself am guilty of not doing that, but when I do it, I feel a whole lot better and a whole lot happier. There's an antidepressant effect to the sun, and when I'm doing it, I'm not wearing sunglasses unless I absolutely have to. Now, if I'm out there longer than that, you have to use common sense. You have to cover up, you have to put the sunglasses on, you have to put the hats on, depending on what your tolerance for the sun is. But I go out in the sun for hours and hours and hours and hours, but eventually I have to put some clothing on to protect myself, otherwise I will get sunburn, and that's not smart either. Gorillas are not eating, typically not eating olives. Gorillas are not eating turmeric. Gorillas are not eating garlic. They're eating fruits. They're eating dark green leafy vegetables that are soft and easy to digest. So this is the ideal. So if we're adding these other things to the mix, then maybe the first thing we should be doing is adding food concentrates that come from fruits, like camel. There's a whole list of them. I'll list them in the description. But maybe that's what we should be doing, getting dried fruit concentrates, and that would at least make more sense. But remember, once you get dried fruit concentrate, you've already processed it in some way, you've lost something. Once you've taken the water out of it, you've really defeated the purpose of the fruit. You can still get the minerals and the alkalinizing effect of the fruit, but you've taken something out of it. And the reason you would do that is to add back to your natural, mostly raw food diet, add back what it's missing. See, the supplementation is really only to add back what is missing. So you've got to determine what is missing. Okay. So I've done some research on just garlic, and garlic is really toxic to the human body. That's why it's an antiviral, an antibacterial, and an antifungal. It kills stuff. Does that mean that we can't use it? No, it means we have to be smart about when we use it, and we probably shouldn't be having it every day, and we probably shouldn't be using it to treat disorders like high blood pressure, high blood viscosity, those type of things. I would say use garlic over aspirin, which is synthetic. Willow bark is probably better. That's where aspirin came from originally. So, you have to use these things responsibly. You have to be smart about it, and you have to continue to look at what the animals in nature are doing. They will give us a lot of guidance. So really, the only beverage we should be having is water. But do I drink green drinks? Yes. Why? Because green drinks will concentrate the minerals, the vitamins, and give me what is missing from my everyday diet. So I consider green drink a supplement in and of itself. I consider smoothies a supplement. Remember, fruits do not come mashed up in multiple varieties. I had a smoothie today: blueberries, blackberries, strawberries. I took a little piece of watermelon. What else did I have? I cut up an orange, half an apple, a banana, coconut water, natural spring water on top of that, and blended it together. And then I added some coconut milk to that, because it really adds good flavor and a good consistency to it. And I drank it. But do animals do that? No, they don't. So you got to understand that that's a step away. Most animals are eating monofruits. I mean, they'll go to a grove and have all oranges, and maybe the next day they'll migrate and they'll have all berries, and the next day they'll have all bananas. And they typically are eating one food stuff at a time, where we tend to mix everything, and that tends to confuse the body, confuse the digestive tract, especially when we start mixing fruits and vegetables together. That really becomes confusing and can cause problems. And I don't suggest you do that too often, especially real fruits and real vegetables, because vegetables take a lot longer to break down than fruits. Fruits get, again, because our bodies are designed to break fruits down and take them in quicker, they'll come through the digestive tract quicker. But if the digestive tract is having to struggle with breaking down the cellulose from a lot of vegetables, then we're going to have to wait. So I suggest using, making your salads and not putting fruits into your salads. Do I supplement with garlic? Very rarely. Do I supplement with turmeric? Yes, but not on a daily basis. And when I do, I usually would take the real turmeric root, the live living turmeric root, blend it into a juice and add it to my green drink and drink it. And that's the best way to take your turmeric. What else do I like? I like cilantro. I like parsley. These are great. I like hydrating vegetables like celery, cucumbers. They're great. Dandelion root, it's great. Between the dandelion root, the parsley, and the cilantro, you're going to really get a detoxifying 1, 2, 3 bang for your buck. And if you haven't detoxed, or you need to detox, when you drink that, you will be going to the bathroom a lot. Every time I get away, I get off of the path. And those people that are on YouTube who never have snapbacks, who are always perfect on the path, never fall down, Now they have to pick themselves and dust themselves up. Down, they're not human beings, and they're not living in the real world. And maybe all they have to do is sell videos and a raw food diet and raw food information, and they don't have to be exposed to the things that you and I are getting exposed to on a daily basis. When I do supplement, I'm always thinking about detoxification. That's why I like the dandelion, the parsley, and the cilantro. I'll put spinach in there. I'll put some other dark green leafy vegetables like arugula, and then of course the hydrating vegetables, which are really fruits. Very rarely will I put a tomato in there, but sometimes my intuition, and gets back to the other thing about you sometimes have to listen to your intuition, what it's telling you. Sometimes it may tell you, take the powdered form of ginger, or I always have a ginger snap and at least a half or a full lemon in my juices, mainly to act as a preservative, but also it tends to help things along. But again, it's another fruit, and I'll also cut up some apples. So there's some fruits that can go along with the juices, but I don't put apples in my salad, because the two won't go together, and you're going to find yourself fermenting and gassy. So always, what would the gorilla do? So think about what they do, and this will give you a key to your health. It'll give you a key to what food you should take. It'll give you a key to saying, okay, I'm stepping outside of the box here. Do I have a good reason for stepping outside of the box? If you do have a good reason for stepping outside of the box, then step outside of the box. If you're treating something specific, in other words, if there's something really out of balance, if you're working on getting a particular gland in order, the parathyroid, which is for your connective tissue, your thyroid, which is for your basal metabolic rate, and most of us are poisoning our thyroids because we're drinking the tap water, which contains fluoride, and fluoride goes right into the thyroid gland. It goes right into the pineal gland. So most of the calcifications and the mineralizations of the pineal gland are coming from fluoride and other minerals that we're taking in isolate forms. And really, listen, anytime you take something in an isolate form, your body has to deal with it, especially minerals. So you take a mineral outside of its natural form, and it'll say natural chelate. It means nothing. It's not the way nature intended it. It didn't intend for us to have magnesium, calcium, vitamin D, or any of these other isolates by themselves. Can you use them by themselves? Yes, but with caution and very rarely. So for the most of the time, no, because the minute your body hits that and feels that vibration, and remember, what is food? Food is information, food is energy, food is encoding and information at the cellular level, right? And then ultimately food is burned how? What did I teach you last time? Like a nuclear power plant in the mitochondria of the cell, it explodes or breaks a bond, the adenosine triphosphate to adenosine diphosphate, or ATP to ADP. You don't have to really know what all that means. It just means we're breaking a bond, just like a nuclear bomb would break a bomb and send off an explosion. We are nuclear beings. We're bioelectrical nuclear beings, and that's how we derive our energy ultimately from breaking a bond and releasing the energy from the breaking of the bond. So we are really nuclear at some point in time, and that nuclear stuff, a process that's going on within the cell, gives off waste, usually in the form of acid waste. Matter of fact, almost always in the form of acid waste that that has to be carried out. It gets carried out primarily in the lymph, and the lymph is primarily filtered by the kidneys. Some of it can get dumped back into the intestines. Some of it comes out in the form of sweat, which is why you want your thyroid gland working well, because it controls the skin, and how the skin opens up, it controls your basal metabolic rate. If you have connective tissue problem, you're going to be looking at your parathyroid. So you could take things that are good for your parathyroid. If you have a pituitary gland, sometimes you have to take things that go and help the pituitary gland, or help the upper circulation in the brain. And there are herbs and herbal combinations. So what else do I take for supplements? I will take Dr. Robert Morse's herbal combinations at times, not all the time, but when I'm trying to detox, or I'm trying to a targeted specific tissue that needs help, be it connective tissue, be it my kidneys, be it my adrenal glands, and always the kidneys or adrenal glands are usually, and most of us kind of down. If you're under a lot of stress, if you're taking antibiotics, which brings me to another point, do I take probiotics? I used to take them all the time. Do I take probiotics now? Rarely, and only when intuitively my body tells me to, and it's usually when I've kind of gotten off that straight and narrow path, and so it's telling me to get back on the straight and narrow path by using some of the probiotics. And your very best probiotics are extremely expensive. So I might buy probiotics in a powder. It'll last a full year because I'll only use a little bit at a time. And when I do use it, I might dump some in the smoothie, some in the green drink, some in the, I may take some directly in a teaspoon, but very little. You don't need much. Remember, the bacteria will congregate, and the correct bacteria will congregate based on what food substances are in your body. So if you're giving it clean food substances, then those types of bacteria will be colonizing your digestive tract. If you're giving it a bunch of meat, if you're giving it a bunch of dairy, then those type of bacteria colonize. That's why I don't recommend people with yogurt. Why? Because those are bacteria that colonize for dairy. We're not dairy eaters. We're not milk drinkers unless we make our own milk from nuts and seeds and coconut. And even then, do gorillas do that? Does anything in nature make its own milk like that? No, and they certainly don't drink the milk of other species. So just keep that in mind. So we don't, and milk is not a good source of calcium once you've cooked it. You've had the proteins breaking down, then you spun it down, and now you have something that was never intended. Matter of fact, if you feed milk to the homogenized, pasteurized milk, even if it's organic, sitting on the shelf today, and feed it back to a baby calf, it will kill the baby calf. So it's toxic. So I don't recommend bacteria or probiotics that are coming from the colonization where they're using milk or dairy as the colonization substrate, right? No, but for the most part, the bacteria will show up on the scene in the right amount when we give it the right substrate. We give it the wrong substrate, then we're probably going to have the wrong bacteria growing. This is why we have a growing rate of colon cancer. It's very, very scary. And GI cancers in general. We have throat, mouth, esophageal. We have lots of ulcers, ulcerations, and I want to talk about that in a second. Then we have pancreatic CA. And remember, the pancreas is a big part of the gastrointestinal tract, right? A lot of vegetarians getting pancreatic cancer, and they're eating, quote, a vegan diet, loaded with soy and loaded with a bunch of GMOs and loaded with a bunch of other crap that they shouldn't have. Steve Jobs, from Apple CEO, everybody knows about his situation. He was a vegan, vegetarian, and listen, you can be a smart vegan, or you can not be so smart and not do the research. And also, I don't care what kind of vegan you are. If you're under a tremendous amount of stress, a tremendous amount of pressure, that sets off a whole chemistry that's toxic to the body and ultimately will kill you earlier than what nature intended for you. That's not to say that all vegans are stupid. Listen. I recommend getting away from meat eating, but I don't recommend going to eat the soy that most of us eat. So would I ever drink soy milk, rice milk? Never. Would I drink coconut milk? Yes, if I made it myself. Would I drink some nut milks? Yes, if I made it myself and filtered it myself and put it in a nut bag and squeezed the milk out myself. Yes, I would do that on occasion when my body that I'm listening to, that you're in tune with, says that's what you need to do. So then you do it. But remember, you're stepping outside of really the realm of nature when you do that. But we're trying to get something that we're not getting in our everyday diets because we're not living in the tropics, most of us. So yes, supplementation is necessary. How about spirulina chlorella? I like chlorella. I will use it on occasion. I even give it to my dog on occasion. Do I use it every day? No way. Why? Because it's dried. It's already dead. It's not living. It doesn't contain the enzymes, but it does contain the nutrients. So again, we're looking for spirulina and chlorella as supplements to return back to what we've lost. There's shilajit, which is a real condensed a mineral supplement, but it's derived from natural plant compost. Do I use it? I have it. I bought it one time, and I can't stand the stuff. Not that it might not be good for some reason, because it probably is healthy again to replace the minerals back into the foods that have been demineralized. But I don't personally like the stuff. I have it. I can sprinkle it on a few things sometimes. Sometimes I'll sprinkle it in the dog food. But particularly, I don't like shilajit. How about maca? Yes, I like maca. Do I use it every day? Again, no. Again, would an animal in the tropics go and dig a root out and eat a root called maca? Probably not. And also, then we have maca is a starchy plant, so you have to be careful with that. And then number two, a lot of times the maca is processed. They call it gelatinized maca, where they cook away the starch, thinking that that's healthier. Listen, man, the less we muck around with nature, the better off we are. So if you're going to use maca, use the full maca. You don't need a whole lot of it. It is like the ginseng of. Excuse the phone from ringing. I'm going to ignore it for right now. But use the maca in its most natural form. Use the turmeric in its most natural form. Use the camel in its most natural form that you can get it. All right. Use it in the least processed form. And so these are all guidelines and all rules. But yes, when I have camel, and that's the one thing I go through very quickly because it's extremely high in vitamin C, natural bioflavonoids, which again, it's lacking in some of the fruits that we're getting. And so again, I'm using it to replace what is missing in where we shouldn't have to. If we lived out in the rich tropics like Costa Rica, or Thailand, or South America, we wouldn't have to add these supplements, but we do. So, and I like getting these South American herbs or these herbs and fruit concentrates that are coming from these places, because we know the soil is rich, and so we know that it's mineral rich. It has lithium in it. A lot of us are getting depressed and having mood swings and all this diagnosis of ADD and all this other kind of stuff, and likely there are mineral deficiencies that are causing it. Likely a lot of depression can be treated with sunlight and minerals, but it has to be within the context of a raw food diet. And remember, I'm not expecting most of you to go to a raw food diet. I'm expecting most of you to begin to move towards a raw food consciousness, right? And then you'll go to 50% raw food, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, as far as you can take it. But use your brain, right? And I expect most of you to be slowly getting away from meat. Don't buy into this nonsense with the paleo diet. Meat eating is extremely, extremely difficult for your body. The proteins are not needed, by the way. Like I said in the last video, I mean, a lot of your dark green leafy vegetables, almost 50% protein. You can get almost everything you need from plants and fruits and vegetables. So you don't need it. But we've been conditioned. It's hard. Do I eat meat sometimes? Every once in a blue moon, I'll have some meat. I'm not perfect. I just had a little bit of chicken out there when I was feeding it to the dog. So, and I'll eat meat if my mind tells me to, which is almost never at this point. It used to tell me to eat them, but I think it was more craving. And remember the chemicals that they put into the meat, the adrenaline that's in the meat because they're killing the animals, and all that adrenaline gets shot into the blood, and we're eating that. All the growth hormones, all the antibiotics, all that stuff we're eating. So we're destroying our GI tract, which is another reason why if you're eating meat, then I definitely recommend probiotics, because you're destroying, you're essentially on an antibiotic diet, and so you need to replace your good bacteria. But why don't we just stop eating the crap in the first place, and then you don't need the probiotics. So eventually, if you're you're getting towards that 85, 95% raw food diet, you probably won't need probiotics. But it's good to keep some around at times. And I'll post on my website when I get around to it. Please be aware that there's a new website, drzhealingarts.net. The old one was drzhealingarts.com. Eventually I'll get the .com to point to the .net. I still have both of them up because the .com still has some information on there, so I'm going to allow that to stay up for a little while longer, but eventually I'll shut that down and everything will come over to the newer website. So there's a lot of blank pages on the website. There's a lot of stuff that says courses on it, and you go to it and there's nothing there. Please just bear with me. It's better to have it up with some information than not up at all with no information. Okay, again, I'm not going into business on the website, at least not at this point anyway. I'm not trying to monetize it at this point. It doesn't make any sense. What I need to do is gain credibility here on the YouTube channel and give you guys good information that will lead to good health. Now, I'm going to stop it here. We're going to go to supplements, more specific supplements in the next video, so that will be part 3, and I will probably finish up my series on supplements. It's not that difficult. But again, remember, let food be your medicine, right? We're not here to treat diseases, because diseases are nothing more than essentially toxicity building up in the body and then expressing itself wherever there's that particular weakness, right? Remember that disease is typically an illusion, right? What is the disease? What is the underlying problem? And if you cut out a tumor, my father just had a tumor cut out of his leg, and he worried about whether or not it's cancerous or not. I said, why would you be worried about whether or not it's cancerous or not? What you do is you get yourself on a raw food diet 100%, you get yourself to the raw food diet and you supplement properly, which I'll teach you, and then it doesn't really matter if it's cancerous or not. And I said, even if it was cancerous, are you going to go to chemotherapy? Are you actually going to put acids that are, 2.1 pH, that people who are giving this stuff, if it gets on their skin, it will burn them? I don't think so. I don't think that makes any rational sense. Even though we have judges and courts now, telling 17-year-old kids and their parents that they have to take chemotherapy, that they know that's going to kill them. So we know, listen, population control is well underway. They don't disguise it. They don't hide it. We got a feminization of men. We got the masculinization of women through chemicals, right? They put chemicals on the food. They put the pesticides. All these pesticides are estrogenic in nature. They kill the pests, and they also kill us, and they distort us. It's distorting the animals in nature that now come and feed off of this stuff, and there's always a big chain reaction environmentally when we use chemicals in a system that wasn't meant to have, quote, chemicals, especially synthetic, man-made, anti-living chemicals. This is what pesticides are. It wasn't meant to be in the ecosystem in the first place, and certainly not meant to be in our bodies. So our sexuality could be affected by this. So, before we look at, other supplements, I mean, really make sure that your diet is clean and pesticide and toxic free, and you do the best that you can based on where you are financially, where your knowledge is. I mean, you try to buy organic as much as you can. You try and clean the fruits off the right way, the vegetables off the right way. You try and really continue to think about detoxification, because no matter how clean you are, the toxins are going to get in no matter what. And then you have to be, you're responsible for cleaning it out. Yes, we're living in a toxic environment, in a toxic world, in an insane world. We're living where the dark forces are raising their ugly heads. And remember, I mean, the dark forces would raise their ugly heads. Most of us who are, quote, good, peaceful people that are just looking to be simple, and doesn't mean we can't do great things. Doesn't mean we can't have a lot of money if we're successful in pursuing our dreams. But most of us are not after power. Most of us do not want control over other people. Most of us do not want to be the president of the United States of America. As a matter of fact, I think those that do, unless there's a spiritual mandate in your karma to do so, probably have mental disorders. Because it's why do you want that much power over people? Why are we making wars and then using chemicals in the wars? And then when we run out of people to kill in the war, we got all these chemicals, and where do they go? They go into the food supply. They dump fluoride into their freaking water, and then telling us it's good for our teeth. Jesus criminy! I mean, how insane are we going to be? And then we're sitting there, taking this stuff all in. Alcohol, you got to stop it. It will kill your good bacteria. It also is neurotoxic. It kills the GI gut. It is an irritant to the gut. And then those of you who are smoking marijuana, yes, if you look at the research of marijuana, it has a lot of medicinal benefits. Problem is, the minute you spark it up and smoke it, you're now smoking burnt plants into your lungs. Not a good idea. Go make a tincture of marijuana and deal with it that way. All right, but then again, it's still going to have a mind-altering effect. And to me, I don't want anything that's going to alter my mind except bring me up to a higher vibration, make me more aware, more super acute, improve my hearing, my taste, my smell, my vision, put me more in tune with myself, open up these spiritual centers that we call chakras, and help me, move up to the higher self thinking rather than the lower animal thinking. Okay, remember what I said in the last video. Those of you who understand what I mean about this cross, understand where that intersects, which is at the heart chakra. I won't go into it again, so please refer to the last video. And I could go on. I can go on for 2 hours. Let's stop it here, just for the sake of sanity. And for those of you who think the videos are too long, listen. Watch it in segments. Watch it. Dr. Morse was one of my guys that I follow. By the way, I like Dr. Morse. I like Dan McDonald. I like Luke Corona. I like Lauren Lockman. That's pretty much who I will follow on YouTube at this point in time. If I follow, see other guys that I really, really think have their hearts in the right place, that are doing the right thing on a consistent basis, I'll let you know. The best of the best is probably Dr. Robert Morse, because he understands the physiology of the body very, very well. And from a medical doctor's point of view, I can understand where he's coming from. Detoxification with tissue-specific herbs to help first detoxify, then rebuild and regenerate. That's it. Very simple. And that's where your supplementation should be. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Remember, this is the work of love. I love every one of you out there, the haters, the people that appreciate what I'm doing. I know I only have a very small following right now. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to keep putting them out, keep putting them out, keep putting them out. Eventually, people will find me, especially if the content's there and the quality's there, and that's what I hope to keep producing. So I had this thing about think like a gorilla, and so I wanted to get that out while it was still fresh in my mind. So I got it out, and that's obviously part of the supplementation program. And I'll probably do a third one. I don't know if I'm going to do it right away. Depends on what I'm saying. There's a lot to talk about right now. Stuff that's going on in the world, talking about Ebola, talking about viruses, talking about vaccines. We're going to get into all of that. So just stay tuned. And then once I have enough of you guys interested, and that's why it's important. I don't care about subscriptions or anything. Comments are more important to me than subscription. I don't care about like and subscribe like you hear from everybody. Hell with that. You want to like and subscribe? Fine. Leave comments, so that tells me what in the heck you want, what subjects you want me to talk about. Go to the website and send out a message that tells me what you like. So once I figure out what you like, then I'll tailor make the videos for it. I did have a email from a guy talking about cancer, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, so I'll talk about those two probably in the next video, but certainly in the next couple of videos that I make, I'll talk about those conditions specifically and what you should do about it. One is a cancerous process, so we'll talk about cancer in general, and then the other one is a degenerative chronic neurological issue, which we're seeing at an alarming rate now. Autoimmune diseases we're seeing going sky high. So what's causing that? Why are we seeing that? And what can we do in terms of educating ourselves and then putting the knowledge into practice, so it gives us a result that we're looking for and actually heals us and cures us rather than suppresses symptoms. Remember, we're in a system of disease management, symptom suppression. You don't want to suppress things. You want the body to be able to do what it does naturally. You want to support the body in doing what it does naturally. The body would heal itself if we get out of the way and stop doing dumb, stupid things. By the way, I'm guilty of doing dumb, stupid things. You're guilty of doing dumb, stupid things. Our job is to do less and less of the dumb, stupid things and more of the things that we know that will promote health. Again, we always, like I said in the last video, the self-sabotaging part of us, this is always present. There's always that little struggle that goes on until we overcome that. Right now I haven't overcome it perfectly, and it's likely to take another 10, 12, 14, 15 years before I do, but I'm well on the path of doing so, and I know what the stakes are, and I know that it has to be done. So yeah, we must overcome the low self, or learn to live in harmony with the low self so it doesn't take us into the wrong direction. But we also have to get out of our minds. I mean, the minds have been conditioned, programmed, and really that's where the battlefield is right now, is with your own mind. So you want to educate your mind with the proper knowledge that makes sense and resonates with you on an intuitive level, right? And if it doesn't resonate, even if some of the stuff I'm saying doesn't resonate on an intuitive level, then don't listen to it. Take what you can. You don't say, you know what, I don't like that one thing that Dr. Z said, so guess what? Hell, everything it says must be wrong. If I did that, I wouldn't follow anybody, I would never learn anything, I wouldn't be sitting down for lectures. You think I agree? Look, 90% of what the hell they were teaching me in medical school I didn't agree with. But you think when the guy was teaching me basic physiology and basic anatomy, I said, I don't like what he's teaching me? No, basic anatomy is basic anatomy. Basic physiology is basic physiology. How you put that into practice in terms of a healing art, that's a whole different ballgame. Anyway, guys, peace, power, prosperity, most of all love to you and your families. I will see you on the other side of perfect health. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. I'm going to try and make a video tomorrow. Like I said, I'm going to be on a video making campaign because I think I need to get as much out of what I know out into the general public, and get you guys on the right track. Again, I'm not selling anything. I don't have any skin in the game. I'm not selling herbs. I'm not selling affiliates. I'm not selling enzymes. I'm not promoting anything other than what it's going to take to get healthy, what it's going to take for you to be able to energize to the point where your creativity is turned on and your mind is opened and reclaimed by yourself, so you can then be getting the information from the higher aspects of self, and then you can live your dreams with really very little impotence, because you know, if you get knocked off your path, you're just going to get right back up and go again. So thank you very much for spending some time with me today. I really appreciate those of you who listen and follow the videos. And like I said, I'm going to reward you with more and more and more and more, but hopefully quality, not just BS, but quality. Hopefully at some point in time I'll have some guests. I mean, I just want average guys or guys that are thinking just like me to come sit by me and give you some of their knowledge. So that would be nice. Or get them on the telephone and record it on the speakerphone so that the camera can pick it up. That would be nice. Email me some of the issues you may have concerns with. Email me, challenge me on some of the things I'm saying, and we'll have a nice a circular relationship. It's not just me as the authority talking down to you, because that's not the way I want to do it. Okay? Thanks a lot. Bye now.